Hey, welcome back to another chapter on the Museum of Us book. The book itself is available on Amazon and fabulous. I know the writer and he worked hard at it, but I also had fun. And one of the chapters that I had fun with was minimalism. If you look in this space about what do we do with our stuff, decluttering, there's a lot of books out there, there's TV shows and etc. I wanted to kind of take a different approach, and one specifically is tied to decluttering. So there's a chapter about that, the cardboard tortoise and hare, and then minimalizing. And I had fun with them at their expense, just because they're fun to play with. But I want to make this small point. One is that decluttering and minimalizing is not what I'm advocating for the book. If that's the way you need to go, makes sense. More power to you, more power to them, period. I just want to make the point that decluttering and minimalism is about analog. It's about stuff that's made up of atoms and molecules. It's things in my life, and I've got to get rid of them, period. What I like about minimalism in my own life is that when I have pure spaces that are empty, that are plain, one, visually, they're more pleasing. Two, I would argue that it allows my mind to rest just a little bit more because I'm not always processing the photos or the books or the stuff around me. It's just calmer, period. And I think they make a great point that if you have less stuff in your life, you're more likely to go out and do cool things. I make the joke about Peace Corps. I was a Peace Corps volunteer for 3 years, and this idea of getting rid of stuff so you can go help people, I think is a good value. I encourage it, but it was just too much of the point. It's like, go help people with stuff. Go take your stuff and go share it with other people. But just getting rid of stuff to go help people seemed to me a thin layer of ice to stand on. Here's what I would offer. Having less stuff in your life, I would agree, certainly can be more pleasing, but my experiences and the research of the people that I talked about, it's a matter of having just the right amount of stuff around you. I spoke to this in the Aunt Robbie chapter of having an Aunt Robbie day. She didn't have too much. She didn't have too little. She wasn't a declutterer. She wasn't a minimalist. She just had what she wanted in her life. Paintings and souvenirs and photos and things that made her feel comfortable, made her feel home and nested. And that's what I would advocate for. So the idea of minimalizing doesn't jive with the people that I've interviewed in terms of what they hope for as sort of last chapters in their life, period. The other point is that minimalizing is about stuff, and what I advocate for is that if you make digital stories of the stuff and put it on a hard drive, what you end up with less analog and more digital, and then you can get to the minimalizing goal, you can get to the decluttering goal by doing this thing about storytelling, digital storytelling. But again, I want to make the point that just our relationship with stuff, whether we have too much or too little, misses the point in my opinion. Instead, I'd rather you had stories recorded about the stuff, what I call building an our museum of us, in which we know the stories behind this stuff, and we've recorded it and digitized it and put it up on the cloud or thumb drive or DVD or whatever. But then, because we recorded it, I find that people get pretty calm, and the same feeling that I think the decluttering and the minimalist hope will have happens even more, because not only have I not gotten rid of it, but I've not gotten rid or I've not lost the story. And that's the last concern I have about minimalizing, is you get rid of all the stuff, but what about the values? What about the stories? What about the attachments you have to them? Isn't it better if we record that, capture it through curating it, capture it together through storytelling and listening, and then what we end up with is, whether we keep the thing or not is fairly straightforward, but at least we haven't just tossed it out so we can go overseas and that kind of thing. So, final word is I was having fun with minimalist because I think in my heart, I'm at heart a minimalist. I see the point altogether and I see the value of decluttering. But I think what I would advocate for is, don't throw the stories out as you try to get rid of your stuff. Record the stories, record them together, make them digital stories and make them available for current and future generations. And then that, I would argue, would be a real strategy. And good luck with that.